Hey legends, welcome to the Pot Noodle. I'm your host Jared, and joining me is Liam. How you going, Liam?
Good, mate. The new hoops arrived this morning, so just in time to hopefully celebrate the treble at the weekend.
How nice is that top look? I like
It
the black
looks
on it.
so much better in person. Honestly, it's one of the cleanest looking hoops tops I've seen in ages. I got the no sponsor version, which is always better in my opinion. But
Is it black or is it dark green? The Adidas stripes.
they are very dark green.
There we
Um,
go.
aye.
I'll be getting one of them. Happy days. It's don't just the wife will find out once it's on its way. Yeah,
My wife found out when it showed up this morning.
that's how it is. That's just how it should be, isn't it?
Aye.
Anyway, anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you joining us for the pod. If you can like the video on YouTube, like the podcast in the audio. If you haven't done so, give our YouTube a subscription. We appreciate it. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and helps us grow the channel. So we appreciate all of that. I think tonight's pod's going to be a bit of a quick one because Liam's a bit rough, like not feeling well. I'm a bit dusty, carrying over from a Serbian and Macedonian wedding over the weekend. So yeah, it's going to be interesting pod here. So yeah, it's a pretty simple thing there. Celtic won, St Mirren won on the weekend on Trophy Day, Liam. So just leading up to the game, like obviously we have the whole Trophy Day thing that goes on with them walking the trophy up the Celtic way, obviously, and what
Mm.
goes on there. What was your thoughts on the whole pre-game situation and what happened there?
I mean, it's just the way it is now. I mean, I thought it was great, but it does all feel a wee bit kind of synthetic and kind of stage managed now, doesn't it? It doesn't have that same sort of random element to it that it used to have. You know, it all feels very planned out and a wee bit artificial, maybe. But maybe I'm just being a bit of a grumpy old bugger on that. I don't know.
Nah, you know what it is, Liam. It's because you know, if it came down to the last round and say if it was like the second last game of the season and we were 4 points clear going into that last game and we'd only just knocked it down at that point, so the
Mm.
club's basically got 3 or 4 days to get everything organised, it's
Yeah.
going to be like the good old days. But when
Uh,
you're 17 points clear, you're absolutely running laps around the league. What happens? The club's got time to get involved and get into their thoughts of how can we control this? Who can we get? How do we set this up the best and do all this stuff that they do, and they micromanage things, and it takes it away a little bit from the average Joe punter out there. And yeah, I kind of agree with you. It's a little bit like the fact that I was trying to watch as much replays of like post-match celebrations, pre-match stuff today as I could, and a whole bunch of other bits bits and pieces. And what happened? They had a sit-down interview with Kelmac,
yeah.
but the thumbnail they used was him with the trophy. So I thought in his hoops, I thought it was him on the pitch after the game. So I jump on to watch that, and it's just him sitting down for a chat with that knob on Celtic TV, and I'm like, yeah,
It
love your
probably
Kelmac.
recorded 4 days ago or something. You
Yeah, it
know?
would have been. Yeah, so I was like, what's the point of listening to that?
Aye.
So
Aye.
yeah, yeah, I agree with you on that there. But yeah, it's
Ironically, Celtic doing everything that Glasgow City Council won't but should in terms of stage managing.
and we'll get to that later. Definitely we'll be getting to that later, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, just going into the game, starting lineup. I think it was a bit of a dress rehearsal for with the Hatate injury. Bit of a dress rehearsal for the upcoming Scottish Cup final. So Schmeichel in goals, Johnson, Carter-Vickers, Scales, Taylor, Engels, McGregor, and Bernardo in the middle, and then up front was Ida with Maida and Kun on the wings. So, what was your thoughts going in with that lineup, Liam?
Aye, I mean, I think it's probably going to be the Scottish Cup final team, isn't it? It's a dress rehearsal, really. And although after the way we played for the first 90 minutes of the game, I don't know if that's going to stick. But yeah, I think that is the with Hatati being injured. I think that is the lineup that we go with probably next week as well.
Thing for me is like any time. we've had the three. Say if we have Engels and Bernardo together, right?
Mm,
Without Calmac, say you've got Hatard in there or Luke, right?
yeah.
It works. You have Calmac and Bernardo, it works. You have Engels and Calmac, it works, right? So you just
Yeah.
rotate it through. I don't know how good my memory is on this because watching games in the middle of the night, everything gets a bit of a blur by the end of the season. But I can picture at least a couple of times it's happened where we've had the midfield three of Calmac, Engels, Bernardo, and I don't think there's enough forward momentum and guys who have that ability to. They're all quality players, but we miss what Hatade brings to the team in that role when we have that three together. They're all a little bit too similar for my liking as a midfield three playing together. That's just my gut feel on how I see it playing. And having watched a bunch of replays because I wasn't able to see the game because of the wedding on the weekend, my
Mm.
sister-in-law's wedding. So it was one of them where, for me, I just don't know how I feel about that midfield three there.
No, I think that's the one part of the team that could potentially get switched up a bit before next Saturday. And as much as I hate to say it, Big Era didn't do himself any favours either. So maybe he's on the shaky nail as well to start.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that all plays out. But the thing is, like, everyone's saying Eder didn't have a great first half. Like,
Mm.
the thing for me is neither did Maida, neither did Kun. There was no real service. Like,
Yeah.
just think of this for a second, right? Eder's sitting on the bench. Jamesy comes on and he's starting to whip in these pinpoint crosses into the 6-yard box. Eder
Mm.
would have been there looking at that going, where was that when I was on? I would have been getting my head on the end of that header that Maida missed. That was Eder. That would have been in. Like, that's the sort of thing he would have been staring at going, where was that? So you got people out there giving Eder a hiding. But for me, I just look at it and go, I think it was a service issue more than anything for him. He still worked his ass off defensively. He still played hard. But yeah, just the first half overall, Liam, like from what I've heard and seen, it was just a lot of wasn't very attacking. It was recycle the ball, horseshoe it across the back, recycle, pass this, pass that. It was pretty average. So what was your thoughts on the first half?
It was a classic end of season game, wasn't it? It was a team going through the motions, really. Yeah, scrappy game. Not really much creativity from either team. St Mirren's defence held up well. They clearly just set out to try and contain Celtic, and they did for the first half. So, it was just one of those games where you're just waiting for that spark, and it didn't. It never really came in the first half, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. I was just looking through some of the comments as well. While you were saying there's a lot of happy campers in there, so good. But yeah, the first half, it was, I don't know, Liam, it was a tough one for us where we just couldn't break them down. And that's the thing,
It
I've got to
was.
give credit to
Sorry.
them.
Yeah.
I'll give credit where it's due. They've got a lot of big bruiser footballers. They're well drilled. Stevenson Robinson's teams, the way they play their football, he has it structured well for them. They went out there and they done what they were supposed to do. So it made it hard to break it down in the first half. But yeah, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say that I think if it had been any game other than the last game of the season with the league already won, I think we'd have a much grimmer view of how this game played out than we do. As it is, 3 weeks from now, all that anybody's going to remember is the last 1 minute of the game.
But yeah, agree with that, Liam. But even if we drop these points, right? If we lost the game, right? People would be pissed off in the moment. Be like, oh, it's trophy day and we didn't even get the win or result. We lost the game, and
Hmm.
they'd be frustrated, right?
Aye.
But we go in next weekend off to Hampden. We get that trophy there as well. We go a treble. 6 months time, people are going to have forgotten that result, aren't they?
Aye. Yep. Aye. But what about the we won two meaningless Glasgow Derbies trophy? Is that count for anything?
It's I think it's wedged between the bike and the groundkeeper's trophy or something like that in their trophy room?
Like, I don't think it's appropriate calling it the bike. Okay, her name is Lana Wolf. Okay, be polite.
It's disrespectful to bikes, mate, because they're at least useful.
Aye. Probably a more pleasant ride as well. But anyway, moving on.
Oh, shit, we've gone there already. Lovely.
Yes. It's all right. We're 10 minutes in. Safe.
I'm not even worried, Liam. Not even worried.
Safe.
So then, yeah, going in the second half, I thought the biggest change came for us when we made those early subs. I think it was the 55th minute or something. Like, I had to say it just because of how many trophies it is now and everything. But yeah, when we made those subs early on in the second half, that made a bit of a change. And we started to get into the game. And then later on, Johnny Kenny come flying through, forced a good double save out of their keeper. He's a tough little bastard, I'll tell you that. Shout out to the guy, I've mentioned him a few times, can't remember his name, was playing in the League of Ireland last year. I met him down here at the CSC at the last Rangers derby game. And yeah, he was just saying the guy's got an absolute prick. He doesn't mind getting kicked. We'll give you an elbow, we'll kick you back, or whatever. But yeah, he's a tough little bugger. So it was good to see him get out there. So your thoughts the second half, Liam?
Aye, it was the kind of game that needed someone to kind of stamp their authority on it like that, and I think Kenny did that when he came on. I also liked the look of Yang when he came on. He was trying to make things happen, not necessarily coming off for him, but he was trying to make things happen. So, he showed a bit more invention than most of the players did in the first half.
On that,
But
Liam, can I just jump
yeah,
in for a sec? On
sure.
Yang, the funniest thing with him is he goes for that scissor kick, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't happen for him, right? But some players, if they did something like that and it went the way that went, they would have gone a bit more reserved and just been like, oh, well, I'll put my cue in the rack and I'll just slow it down. Yang's a beast. Like, he just gets out there. It's like, honestly, it's like mate has taken him under his wing and it's like, come here. You're my mentor. I'm like your Yoda. You're going to learn how to run and be absolutely out of control, like with your pace and your work rate. And sometimes what you do will make you look like an absolute star, and sometimes it'll make you look like a dud, because that was the view people had. Remember in Mader's first season at the club, or first 18 months at the club, that was the constant thing. Anytime you would bring up that Mader's actually a striker playing on the wing, the comments would light up. People would light up saying, oh, he's hit and miss, he's a dud. And that was early on, and now look at him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
I've just got that mental picture now of Dyson as Yoda, like, yes, Hans, you will scalp, yes.
Oh, there you go. Now you're going to use that as a thumbnail, Liam, on one of your Axom articles. There you go. Before the derby would be perfect.
I actually did that a couple of weeks ago. There was one I had Yoda wearing a Celtic top, and the headline was "Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to Sevco."
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, so the rest of the second half stuff you were saying, Liam, before I jumped in.
No, it was like you say, the subs made a good impression when they came on. We were getting stronger as the game went on, and Jamesy just came in with that. And you know what? A lot of credit needs to go to Alistair Johnson, because he could just have easily taken on that shot, but he had the presence of mind and the unselfishness to play Forrest in, because he knew Forrest had a better chance of scoring. And it was just fairy tale stuff, wasn't it? It was just exactly how. I mean, I have never in my life cheered so loudly and been so elated at snatching a one each draw with St Mirren in the last minute.
So last thing I saw, I looked at it and we were down, and it was the 77th minute. And then it was like an hour later, I looked at it, I'm like, hey. And this is where like the pod episode came from. I'm just like, I look at it and I go straight away, I'm like, it had to be James Forrest, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it had to be. It's written in the stars. There's something magic. There's something special about this club. And we've got this habit of big moments. And if that was we were 1-0 up and then they scored the late one, we would have gone out of there feeling like that was a loss, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that it was the other way around, Jamesy needing that goal for his 16th season in a row of scoring in the league, and for it to happen in the last minute of the game, as you said, class from Alistair Johnson to pass that on and be unselfish like that. But Forrest, a couple of minutes earlier, had an opportunity. He could have pulled a shot at the top of the box, and I think he tried to play Yang in.
Yeah.
So it's not. That's something I like about this squad. Like, there's no real, hero ball there. No selfishness. Just pass it on. If someone's in a better position, like if you're Alistair Johnson, you're at the top of the box. You're going, I could get my name in lights here, but there's a guy right there who is a club legend. Is the most. He's got the most trophies in the club history, and is a winger. He's going to be a better shot than I am. Give him the ball. Let the
Yeah.
ego go. Let him do the job. Perfect. So and that's why I say Alistair Johnson's our next captain.
Yeah, because also whenever you see his post-match interviews, whenever Johnson gets man of the match or whenever he scored a goal or whatever, his first line is always, "It's about the team. I'm glad to have done what I did, but it's always about the team." And I love that about the guy. That's leadership. That is, I hope we can hold on to him long enough that he does become a future Celtic captain. I mean,
Alistair Johnson is also the sort, Liam, where he could sell ice to an Eskimo. Like you just hear him
aye.
talk, and he's that way. So he's the sort of guy. If you was your skipper and you're in the locker room, you'd listen to him.
He's one of those guys, though, you could just picture it. If he was a rugby player, he's the sort of guy who would try and rip your head off during the game, but then buy you a pint afterwards. It's just
Exactly.
he's got that psycho streak about him as well, which I like.
Yep. Perfect combination of Kelmac and Bruni right there.
Aye.
Yeah. So the goal, James Forrest, absolute class. What a finish. We normally talk about the goals in order, but we've skipped over their one. All I want to say with their bloke when he scored was that ball was a bee's dick away from being deflected 3 different ways, 3 different times away from the goal. If you have a look, it's like Carter Vickers' foot misses it by like half a centimetre.
Yeah.
I think it was Johnson on the other side missed it by bugger all as well, and then missed Casper's hand by the tiniest bit as well. So he's just thread that needle, something chronic there, and yeah, couldn't have hit that any better there, striker. But yeah, it's not about them; it's about us. And 1-1, we'll take the draw, and we'll take the trophy, and go and celebrate.
The funniest bit was literally about 2 hours after the game had finished, I watched all the presentation, watched all the post-match stuff, watched a couple of YouTube reactions, whatever, and then I found out the Huns had dropped 2 points as well.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares, mate.
No.
Fucking brilliant. Yeah.
And then the She-Huns bottled the league the next day as well. Brilliant.
Great all-round weekend. So, player focus, normally we'd do that. There's not really much point because we've already spoken about who we wanted to speak about, and it was a pretty average game. So, I have 2 last things we're going to talk about. Normally we go a man of the match. Well, again, it's got to be James Forrest.
Yeah.
For that moment. The only other thing I wanted to talk about from the game, what was with the shit tifo beforehand with all those little flags? That looked poxy as all hell, I'm telling you. It looked terrible.
Well, again, I would ask people to go and read my own thoughts about that because I wrote an article about it on the Axon blog, actually on Saturday, because I got wind of that tifo a couple of hours before kickoff. A couple of guys that were already in the stadium sent me pictures of it, and it looked crap. And I thought, sure enough, this is going to be crap. And when it was on TV, it did look like crap. And my takeaway, to distill it down to a headline, my headline was, Celtic fan culture is unique. You can't synthesize it. That was corporate, tifo by committee. This is what we should do. This is what focus groups want us to do. Bullshit, right? It's It's crap. It's artificial. It's fake. It just did not. No, just get the Green Brigade back in and let them do it properly, please.
That reminded me of an A-League game down here where we walked into the stadium and they had a sponsor for the game, and every person when you came in through the turnstiles, as you scanned your ticket, you were given a plastic hand clapping that you weigh like this, move side to side, and it claps and makes a noise.
Uh,
And they were handing them out to everyone to use for a pre-match, because they had a pre-match round of applause for some club legend or something like that. I can't remember exactly who it was. And I just thought, no.
You see it on the cricket as well. Sometimes I don't know if it's the same in Australia, but sometimes like when you watch the cricket from England or whatever, and the guy hits a 4 or a 6, everyone in the crowd holds up the wee fucking 4 or 6, but
Yeah.
it's always got like bloody Vodafone or something written on it. You know, it's always like just a very blatant sponsorship thing. You know, and it's
Best
just
ones with them though, Liam, is when people start like drawing Dixon and cocks and balls and stuff on them. And then they zoom in on the crowd and there's like one saying 4 and there's a whole bunch of like random stuff on there or whatever. It's like a combination of the darts sort of crowds and everything else. But yeah, it's
the best one like that I saw, I think it was the darts actually, where there was a wee guy held up like the 180 thing. At the bottom it just said, "The wife thinks I'm out for a pint of milk."
yeah, that would have been explaining to
Gone
do.
missing. Yeah.
So yeah, what we'll do is I'm gonna just bring up a comment here from McLaughlin saying Alan Stubbs versus Rangers in '97 and Didier Gat versus Hearts in 2004. Those are two equalisers and draws that we got that lifted the roof at Celtic Park previously.
Aye, the Alan Stubbs one I remember. Aye. Yeah. Aye. The Gat one, I was probably at that game because I had my season ticket then, but I don't actually remember it off the top of my head.
Yep. Then we got John saying, "Morning guys, hope you had a good weekend." Jack
Certainly did, mate.
Ryan is saying, "How guys in an Irish bar in Budapest might order a champagne because you know that's what Tim's spray." Love it.
Oh, we need to talk about that. Did you see some of the shithousery from Celtic's social media account?
Oh, don't worry, that's coming. I'm gonna let you just go wild with it, Liam, because
Oh.
normally I'd have a bunch to put them look on the screen, but I haven't had time to save them all and do all that. Dominic saying, "Great weekend, Jamesy goal, Sevco women bottling it, and Barry's going."
Aye.
Oh God, I have to bring this up. Smell the glove.
Yeah.
This
Seth cows. See, that reminds me of do you remember the conversation we had in our WhatsApp group last season when Celtic women won the league? Do you remember that?
there's some pretty interesting stuff. I'll tell you that.
Right.
I can
I,
remember it, Liam, but I don't
yeah.
know exactly which way you're going on this because there was 2 or 3 things that you could be
The
getting
bit
upset up
the
for.
bit that stuck with me was you had all the Huns on follow, like giving it, oh yes, we're going to win the league, you know, fuck them, whatever. And then Celtic at the last minute winner. And it's the same guy who's been like non-stop sectarian abuse for the entire duration of the game. Just goes, fucking 19th century Irish terrorist cows. And then we all, just for a laugh, each of us started putting that into an AI prompt and started getting images of like cows wearing balaclavas with bayonets.
I still might have those pictures on my phone, Liam.
Oh, that was classic.
Yeah. I was wondering which one you were going to with that, and yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Great fun. What do we got
Good
here?
time.
Yeah, as Andrew was saying here, Hatard can turn on the ball and change things.
Yeah.
Dominic's saying Eder will play Jamesy on the right, Days on the left. Smell the glove saying if anything, couldn't Bernardo and Eder played their way out of the Hampton starting lineup.
Possibly, aye.
Smell the glove is saying also Stephen Robinson has St Mirren's defence really well drilled. The sheep are a mess at the back. McLaughlin, I've had enough of Kun, to be honest. Thinks he can
That
turn up
seems to
when
be
he
a recurring theme with a lot of people.
thinks he can turn up when he wants now. You know who he's giving me vibes of? Samaras. Turns up in the big games, but when you got to play some Diddy team middle of the week or whatever, he just doesn't seem to give, like, his body language and the effort doesn't seem like to get in there.
I think the difference is, though, with Samaras, that was just his kind of way of playing. He just had a general kind of languid look about him, whereas with Kuhn, I think it might be an attitude issue, you know?
Yeah. Samaras just drove me insane. That's why I brought up, here you go, Liam, Square Sausage Mix got something for you. Orange Iro no Yaro.
All right, the first part is Orange Bastard. I can't work out the rest of it.
I knew what the first bit was because of Orange.
Right.
Do you bring it back up for you?
I think it was sort of the Orange Bastards have won fuck all. Yes, something like that.
There we go.
I'll need to get the wife to have a look at that one for me later on.
Yeah.
But just to correct his grammar, it would be Orange Yaro, not Orange no Iro Yaro, just Orange Yaro. If you're going to insult a Hun properly in Japanese, you know, just get the grammar correct.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Michael, you've got this here. Michael McDonald is saying, "G'day, Bruce. There's too many flaming adverts on YouTube these days." And they're bloody mongrels. Gotta love it. So yeah, so we'll get through there. Andrew Galea is saying, "I like the look of Kenny."
Aye. Yeah.
And then Michael McDonald saying, do you not think Forrest should have been given a better send-off when you consider his service? I hope he's not leaving.
He's not leaving. He's got another year on his contract.
Yeah. So, like, I don't think it was a send-off, but yeah, we'll see what we've got here.
No, he will be there next season. How much he'll play is another story, but he will be there next year. So,
yeah,
I think he'll get some game time because we know Brendan rates him. So,
yeah, 100%. So, yeah, what we'll do, Liam, is we'll just jump ahead then. The social media stuff. Over to you.
Right. So the one I saw, which had me absolutely howling, was it was meant to be like somebody typing out a tweet, and it was like, "World's most successful." No, simply no, just another day at paradise.
Yeah, there were some absolute crackers on there. The funniest thing I saw post-match, and it wasn't even a meme, it wasn't a tweet, it was nothing. It was Rio Hatard with his crutches sitting down with all the,
the ticker tape.
Ticker tape and stuff, basically on his head like an afro. It was the best. Yeah. I love seeing that. I was like, yeah, good. Can't really do much about that. So, yeah, it was a bit of an interesting one. And then talking about Jamesy here, McLaughlin saying if he scores next season, he'll be one season away from equaling Jimmy McGemini's record of 18 consecutive seasons between 1902 and 1920.
Well, I tell you, if Rodgers stays beyond next season, I think Forrest probably would as well.
Yep. I concur, Liam. There you go. I used a big word. So, what I wanted to do is just go on to the post-match title celebration. So, from all the videos I've seen online, it looked absolutely class. And I'm so glad that our fans basically told the Glasgow City Council to do one based on the message that they sent out saying not to celebrate in Trongate and Merchant City after the game. So, yeah, that was class. There's thousands of people there. And with that in mind, Liam, if us having a yearly title party on the streets is too much for the council and the police to handle, should they be allowing Celtic to set up a fan zone away from the area that they don't want us to be, like Merchant City, Trongate region, and for the next time we win the league, so pretty much next year, if things keep going the way they're going? Someone said online it should be somewhere like Glasgow Green was looked at for this year, but it wasn't approved by the Glasgow City Council. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is the thing. The council can't have it both ways. It's a party is going to happen. A party will happen when we win the league, and that's going to be more years. More often than not, it's going to be every year almost. So it's going to happen. So prepare for it. It's they seem to have no trouble whatsoever accommodating hundreds of orange walks every year. Um, so why is it that one mass gathering of Celtic supporters is too much for them, but hundreds of those hate parades are, we have to facilitate that because that's culture. No, it fucking isn't.
It's not
Um,
culture. I get stuffed. Honestly,
yeah,
Liam, I was going to say the same thing as you. The fact that they will allow them to have these orange walks, which is basically Scotland's equivalent of the KKK walking
mm,
through the middle of Glasgow, j- with no problem, just do your thing. But then we, but then they target football fans. Your
yeah,
priorities are all wrong.
yeah. At least the KKK put a bit more effort into their costumes.
Well, at least they cover their heads so we don't have to look at them.
Oh, I bet there's a lot of crossover in membership there, though. I would, which I thought was ironic because they were claiming that they had to have their Orange Walk on the same day as the Celtic celebration because it was to commemorate VE Day. Now, one, VE Day was on May 8th, so it was like 10 days after the event. And two, their side lost the war, so what the fuck are they celebrating?
Yeah, no, made no sense. But yeah, I'm gonna jump on a comment here as well because hang on, we'll bring this one up first from Andrew. The crowds will go where they like, just put some facilities. Exactly. And that's
Yep.
the thing. Like
Yeah.
Glasgow Green, for instance, like they down there, they put that for Scotland games as a fan zone
Aye.
before, so it's been done. Facilities can be put there. It makes sense. You're out of the way. It's plenty big enough. Why not? And off the back of it, Liam, like, yeah, like off the back of what I was going to say is, like, you've got the Scottish mainstream media now banging on about the mess left behind from the celebrations, fights, and that 9 people were arrested post game. Now, I'm going to jump on that because we've got some comments here, and I read the red tops today, so you guys don't have to. I decided to suffer on that.
Mm.
So, Smell the Glove is saying Daily Ranger and the Scottish Hun newspaper showing nothing of Celtic fans helping clean up afterwards. Exactly, and that was where I was going to with this.
Yep.
McLaughlin saying anything negative, they're reporting it. And then McLaughlin's also saying, I've seen scuffles, but there's just as many scuffles in nightclubs every weekend. It's Glasgow. It's going to happen.
Yep.
And the last thing I was going to jump to on this, off the one of it, was how many years in gangs will be boxing when transmit happens? Well, case in point, the media's banging on about 9 arrests in the celebrations, right?
Mm.
Considering 40 people were arrested in the last Transmit Festival, and fuck all was said about that in the media, I think they need to chill out and, take their blue tinted specs off when reporting it because it's nowhere near as bad as it was in Glasgow 5 years ago. Yes, it was 5 years ago. Your team has sucked ever since when they won and they broke COVID protocols to go out together, and the media didn't say anything about that either.
Yeah, and
Just saying.
can we just remind them, that when Celtic fans do it, no statues were molested, no benches were smashed, nobody was caught wanking in public. The Huns still have the exclusive on those behaviours. So
Yeah. So for me, yeah, I just had to bring all that up because I'm like, it's just a double standard. It's not quite there, but yeah, it's just out of control. And as Ian Corbett saying, they won't show anything other than negativity when it comes to Celtic fans celebrating.
mm.
I love this idea from Smell the Glove as well. Book Glasgow Green and get kneecap over. That would be the perfect
Yes,
celebration.
yes, and have the wolf tones open for them. Perfect.
Everyone will be what rocking balaclavas. It'll be great. This year's third top and balaclavas at that celebrating on Trophy Day couldn't get much
Oh
more.
yes.
That would cause a ruckus.
Oh.
Anyway, you got anything else to say about the title party, Liam, and the cleanup and everything like that, or what's going on? Because yeah, just looking at the video, some of the I think it was Seltzer here had a nice video up on their YouTube channel with drone footage and everything, and that is just crazy. Like, go check that one out if you can. Quinny hooked us up with that and told us about it. So yeah, go check that out on their channel when you're done here.
The great thing about that as well is, like Seltzer here did the drone work, that various others, I think Axom had a couple of people there as well. Various Celtic sites had people at the event covering it. One, it's great to document all of this because we can look back on it and enjoy it. But two, it's also evidence because it shows the vast majority of people that were there, boisterous maybe, rowdy perhaps, but peaceful, not violent.
Just happy.
But not violent.
Drunken off their ass, but happy their team won.
Yeah.
Just want to have a few drinks, celebrate, have a sing-song, jump around, cuddle a few strangers and get on with it. That's pretty much all you're wanting.
That's the thing, right? When you look at different... just to make the straight comparison between Trongate and George Square when the Mankey Mob won the COVID season, right? Our first instinct is to go there and celebrate. Like you say, you end up hugging strangers, you end up scooping bottles of Bucky, whatever, and you end up maybe climbing a monument or two, right? But that's just, it's all done from a place of happiness and joy and celebration. With that mob, it's let's just go and smash a place up. Let's be triumphalist. Let's rub everybody's nose in it. Their first instinct is not to celebrate their own team. Their first instinct is to use it as a lightning rod for their hatred of us. And it's truly sad, but that is the way they think. And that's why we'll always come out on top eventually.
It's just madness, honestly. Like, the fact that their first thought is us, our first thought is us. They always say online, like, oh, you guys are obsessed, blah, blah, blah. But when you break it down to that exact thing we've just done there, Liam, their first thing, us, our first thing, us. Yep. Glasgow is green and white. Get our yearly trophy party down on the Glasgow green.
Aye.
How about have a white night? There you go, a celebration. Have a white night on Glasgow green. So Glasgow is green and white. There you go. There's your slogan. I've done the whole bloody marketing for those.
White night could be open to misinterpretation.
Wear a white shirt.
No white hoods, please. We do not want to attract that crowd.
They're out and about anyway, walking.
Aye.
Nah.
Waddling down the road.
Yep. All right, Liam. So, couple of last few things to talk about here. So, looks like Greg Taylor is going to be leaving Celtic based on his Instagram post. Tagged it, lived it, and loved it. So, his missus would put up a bunch of pictures as well on hers. Apparently, saying like of him when like the two of them when Greg signed at the club and so on, and a whole bunch of photos from over the years. So, if that's the case, we're leaving 5-time champion. If he's only got one game left to play for us, what do you think his legacy at the club's going to be? Because I know a lot of people give him pelters, but there's also a very staunch Greg Taylor love fest going on from certain people as well.
I don't know what to say to that. You just called me staunch. I'm a bit worried now.
I was going to use a different word, but the only reason I said that is because I know he came through the Rangers Youth Academy and we got him from Killy. So I'm like, I was going to use a different word. I'm like, nah, I'm going to throw staunch in to see Liam's reaction. It's trying to stitch.
Whether Greg Taylor stays or goes, right? It's because it's still not decided. I think I agree with you that it's leaning towards him leaving, but he owes Celtic nothing. He has left it on the park for us every single time he's played. Has he made a mistake or two? Of course he has. Every player does. But you cannot question the boy's commitment. You cannot question his dedication. And I think, I don't know if he was raised a Celtic fan, but I think he's certainly one now. He's one of us. And wherever he goes next, that's not going to change.
So on there, Liam, I'm going to jump on two things. One, 100% agree. He's given his all. The transfer fee, the wages. He's 100% been professional the whole way through. So he's earned his trophies. He's earned the respect from us as a fan base.
Yeah.
So if he moves on, he goes with good luck. All the best for the rest of your career. Hope it's what you want it to be. Unless he does the unthinkable, listens to Chris Boyd and jumps over to Ibrox, then you can, do one. But the other thing, you said he had a couple of mistakes, and you said all footballers do that. I just want to jump on that on a bigger scale. All humans do that. That is what's part of being human. So I try not to look at it as just the football. He's made mistakes, but anytime he's made a mistake, he's owned it.
Yeah,
And he's come back and he's worked.
Chris Boyd's parents,
So yeah, he's come back and I don't want to go down a Chris Boyd rabbit hole. That's why I just let that one go. Probably not the best.
Contraception, people, contraception. It can prevent things like Chris Boyd from happening. I'm sorry.
No, I'll say
real things now.
Chris Boyd's dad needs a better pull-out game. There you go. I'll fucking say it. I was gonna let it go, and I'm like, nah, it has to be done. Anyway, yeah. So with Greg Taylor, like, he makes mistakes, but every time he's worked hard. He's come back. He's done his best to fix it. So good on him. Appreciate what he's done, and yeah, see, you got one more trophy left to win. So there you go. So a couple of comments we'll bring up here. Andrew Galea, it's been a great season. Rogers did the job. Fair play. Champions again.
Yep. Spot on, Andrew. Well said, mate.
Michael McDonald is saying, do you wish Ange all the best for his final?
Yes, absolutely.
Hope he wins it, and then like second season, bitches, drops the mic and walks off. Because he always wins a trophy in his second season.
I hope he literally wins the game, gets the trophy, picks up the trophy, turns around, gives it that to the Spurs support, and just quits on the spot. that would just be perfect, because they do not deserve him. They absolutely do not deserve a manager of his class.
Their fan base are delusional.
Yeah. Aye.
Ian loves your work, Liam. You never fail to get a dig into him at any opportunity.
Oh, there's plenty more coming, Ian. Don't worry. Plenty more in the works.
There's two other things I wanted to get to. So, Tony Docherty sacked by Dundee this morning. What a stupid decision by that club. Absolutely. It just befuddles me. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you make that decision? He's been so stable for them, made them a hard team to break down. Yeah, they didn't finish in a great position on the ladder, but they've stabilised. They're in a good spot to improve year on year on year on year. They're not going to be like they could build that so it's not like an Aberdeen where 1 year they're third, or Killy one season they're third or fourth, the next season they're second last. Like, so I just think that's a dumb decision.
They're Dundee and they didn't get relegated. That's an achievement. I'm sorry, but if you're a Dundee fan and you can't accept that, I'm sorry, but that's the reality. A good season for Dundee is survival.
And that's why I said he's stabilised. And they finished 10th, so not even they didn't get relegated. They're not in the playoff spot, so perfect. Just keep building. If next season you do well, you bring in one or two more, you finish 9th. The next year you try to finish 8th and just build your way up to there. But, that's just a dumb decision by that club. But anyway. But the other thing I need to point out, I'm just trying to find the comment here. There we go. Smell the glove was Brighton won't be happy with Palace winning the FA Cup, but they deserve it over FC 115. Yep, agree. Crystal Palace, great to see a club with. Oh, that was a true celebration. Like, Henderson, their goalkeeper, he had one. I saw footage of him like drunk on a balcony, just singing that waka waka chant or whatever, and it was just the best.
Aye, aye. It's great when you see genuine football fans celebrating a triumph like that. It's, we saw it. As much as I don't like the way they're being managed just now and whatever with their ownership, Newcastle as well, I thought they thoroughly deserved their trophy this season for their fans. That's a team always gets big crowds and they win nothing. And for them to finally win a trophy, it was really good to see.
Yep. And then we've got can we get the wee man on the right to get his chip out?
Oh, well, if we must. There you go.
There you go.
It's not sharp, but it is the appropriate weight and length of a ceremonial katana. So there you go.
I was wondering where you were going when you were saying weight and length and it's in your hand, Liam. I was like, where's he going now? What sort of jokes are he going to make next?
I'm assuming it's the sword he was asking about and not my other weapon, but that
as long as he's not asking for the hammer, Liam, I think we're okay, right?
By the way, right, just to bring this up, refers to me as wee man, and I know you don't mean any offence by it, Michael. No offence taken, but is my camera lined up in a way that makes me look small? Because people seem to keep calling me wee man, and I'm 6'2". I'm not a small person. I'm 6'2" and about 18 stone. I am not a small man.
All we need to do is get like you, me, and John together for a group photo with little Shane in the front, and then everyone will think Shane's like the boss man, and we're all his big like security. I'll tell you, because you got like the three of us are all over.
He's our Yoda. Let's be honest. He's our Yoda.
Yep. Here's the Yoda who can grow a beard. He's trying to teach us how to do that.
Aye.
Anyway. Yep, exactly, Andrew. St. Pauli survived. Captain Jackson Irvin, what a top bloke. He was out pictured on the weekend wearing a Steve Guppy Celtic shirt, I think it was. Yeah.
He does like a retro Celtic kit, doesn't he?
Yeah. It was unbelievable. It was an absolute pisser. Here you go, Vinny's at it now. Liam gets stupid again with the Yoda voice. And then the crowds were asking.
Ask and receive you shall. Yes.
God.
I'm not even drunk today. What the hell am I doing? Right.
It's medications for sickness. There you go.
Aye. Oh,
anyway,
sick in the head.
We've lost the plot. Anyway, Liam, last thing we'll chat about here is early thoughts heading into the Scottish Cup final. Any concerns you have, or are you like me saying we're going to absolutely pants them? It's not going to be pleasant for them. I think Ice Cube made a song back in the day which is going to sum up what we're going to do to Aberdeen called No Vaseline. That's my thoughts. I thought I went there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I've thrown Liam off for the first time ever.
No, yes. We'll need to be careful because if we give the sheep that level of a pumping, it might actually constitute bestiality, and I don't want any of the boys to get arrested.
Shit, we've lost it. You must think you're like 3 foot tall, mate. Andrew says the only question is who partners CCV. To
answer your question, Michael, I wasn't standing up, but I've not had my wee blue tablet today yet, so you never know.
He's going to get on the blue chew later. Look out.
I nearly choked on one of them once. What a fucking stiff neck I had. Oh. Anyway.
This is madness. This is madness. We've lost the shit here. I'm telling you, it's great. I've gone off the rails. It's the best. Who do you think partners CCV, Liam?
I mean, Scales has had a rough time of it recently, but he's probably still a slightly more dependable than Trusty, although Trusty's a better player overall. I mean, Scales has had a rough time of it recently, but he's probably still a slightly more dependable than Trusty, although Trusty's a better player overall. Trusty has had a rough time of it recently, but he's probably still a slightly more dependable than Trusty, although Trusty's a better player overall. Do you know what? I think it will be Scales, but I think it probably should be Narovsky because he's been the most consistent performer when he's played.
Yeah, I was going to say Scales, but it's a tough one because if Trusty was there, I'd be like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever, I can understand. Well, in Brendan, we trust he wants another ball player on that pitch. But then do you go for Scales because he gives you that guy who's going to get his head to everything and clear it out? Or do you go to Naroski and play him out of position? So the combination's going to be fun. We'll have to watch that place. And as we spoke about earlier as well, the midfield, is it going to be the three we think, or is it going to be a surprise? We'll see what happens there. That's to be discussed later in the week. But yeah, final. You got anything else you thinking about the game there, Liam, that you wanna say, or do you just want to go to your final thought?
I mean, do you want to do score predictions, scorers,
You can.
etc.?
I'm not going to do mine until Thursday, though.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll guess that I think we are probably going to. It's going to be a cagey start, but I think in the end we'll win 3-0.
Smother
And
Glass saying Brendan will shake the complacency out of him this week. Start with hungry players, 5-0 hoops.
oh, I'd be delighted if that's the case. I would be delighted to be wrong and for that to be the case.
You gonna give a you want to give an early starting lineup as well, wee man. Had to. I wanted to see if I got
Right. Okay. So let's see.
had to.
So we'll start Warwick Davis in goals just for a laugh. No, no, right, okay. Hang on. We're talking wee men. Right. I'll go. So obviously Schmeichel in goals. Although if Sinisalo was there, I would not have any complaints. I'd be perfectly happy with him being there. Carter Vickers, Scales, Taylor, Johnson, Bernardo, Engels, and McGregor. Up front, Forrest, Kuhn, and Maeda.
There you go. And Liam said it's going to be 3-0. So happy days. I think what we'll do is, yeah, we'll call it a pod there, Liam. But
Yep.
yeah, just in wrapping up the pod before we go to our final thoughts, I think this pod's had it all. Excessive laughing, me stumping Liam for the first time, a sword getting waved around on the pod, Ice Cube getting quoted. It's just been a magic episode. Had fun. We're living the dream as Celtic fans. 55's in the bag, and now bring on I think it's the 9th treble for the club, so let's get after it.
Yeah.
All right, Liam, you got a final thought?
Yeah, just a wee. First of all, if anybody hasn't subscribed to my gaming channel on YouTube yet, please do. Tartan Samurai Gaming. Doing a lot of playthroughs of old games. Just recently done all the old Doom games, and going to be doing some more good stuff over the next couple of weeks. But I'll leave you with this thought. Bit serious for a minute. Different people have different addiction issues, right? And there's a lot of men out there who are addicted to self-abuse. So if you're one of these guys who's addicted to masturbation, I hope you beat it.
Oh, jeez. My final thought. I was going to say something about your gaming channel, but I'll just do that. Hurry up and do Leisure Suit Larry. Anyway, we'll leave that one there. Now, my final thought. Shout out to Lil and Ange. Have a great life married together. Your wedding was amazing. Thanks, everyone. See you later in the week. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.